Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, August 14, 2020. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The COVID-19 Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2020 was approved by Parliament last evening, which makes provision for the National Insurance Services to continue payments under its temporary unemployment benefits program. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who tabled the bill, stated that the first tranche of payments ended in July, and with COVID-19 still in our midst, it is necessary that the payments continue, which will benefit the unemployed, among others, who are feeling the effects of the pandemic.
It says until the date, the money which has been assigned from the National Insurance Fund for the purpose of the unemployment benefit is exhausted, whichever occurrence comes earlier. Still 2 million, but it's any additional sums which you indicate to the NIS that the central government will foot the bill. In fact, it is expected that it would be extended by at least another $1 million up to in the month of October, because NIS loves to do things in 3 month tranches.
The bill was supported by opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday, who maintains that he would like to see a bipartisan oversight committee established to manage the monies given out.
Mr. Speaker, those are still, and perhaps even more so, now we realize that the crisis is ongoing and will continue, and that we will have to make adjustments and additions here in this Parliament. And that the ultimate amount of money that the government will have to allocate for relief may very well grow much larger, then it's all the more important that that concern about bipartisan oversight be given more attention and support from the government side of the House. That is not to say, Mr. Speaker, that we're not going to support this measure. We support the extension of the benefit period.
The bill also seeks to temporarily amend the Public Health Act for a port health safety charge to be paid by all persons entering the country by sea or air.
The minister shall by order prescribe the rate of the charge. And the order made under section 3, A, may prescribe different rates of charges in respect of different categories or classes of persons. B, may provide for the exemptions or refunds of all or part of the charge. C, may authorize a person or entity to collect the charge on behalf of the government. D, provide for the manner of collection of the charge. And this charge collected under this section is to be paid into the consolidated fund, and the charge imposed under this section constitutes a debt to the government and may be recovered as such in any court, in a court of competent jurisdiction.
The leader of the opposition pointed out that while the government has reduced the departure tax, they have created another charge which, if not carefully implemented, could be heavy on the pockets of persons entering the country.
That's simply because government has taxing power and can relieve its own shortfalls. We don't be short-sighted and pass that pain along to other people who may be affected by one tax or another, because that's what this is. Expect some explanation beyond just simply that we need to clean the airport or the seaports. We know that. The question is, how do we pay for it? The second question is, how much?
The particular levy is going to be temporary. The medical authorities have recommended $12 per person coming in at the airport and at the seaports. We have not yet determined whether it is 12, whether it is 10. It would be, in any event, the aggregate would be less than what the $40 would have been, because we have to make sure that where, as far as possible, we try to relieve the burden, and where some persons can make a contribution.
36 million EC dollars was approved by Parliament last evening for the acquisition and purchase of additional lands at the Bookament Bay Resort, which government has sold to Sandals International for $39.68 million. This forms part of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2020 presented to Parliament by Minister of Finance Camilla Gonzalez, who said it was a complex process but a great deal with Sandals International, as he explained where the $36 million will go.
Supplementary budget is asking for $36 million. That $36 million, as I have explained, is the money that will be paid to the various players that I discussed. The Catholic Church, the local farmers, the KPMG, the 51 villa owners, and all the interested parties there. What we take, we pay. We come out with no profit, but we do come out with a new hotel, 700 employees, and large new market locally for the farmers and fisher folk of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Sandals has reportedly paid down 10% of the total cost, which the finance minister said indicates the seriousness of the company in the resort, which he said will be a third major hotel brand in SVG. Minister Gonzalez said that farmers with farmlands near the resort have until November to move, as this is the time when Sandals is likely to commence work. PM Gonzalez said that had it not been for the resort going into bankruptcy, Sandals International would not have been in SVG. Addressing the issue surrounding who is responsible for severance pay for the former Bookament Bay Resort workers, PM Gonzalez told Parliament this was never the government's responsibility.
Bookament Resort had a common, their communal areas for swimming pool and restaurants and gym and all the rest of the things. But the hotel was managed by a different company. It was managed not by the property company for Harlequin, but by a management company for Bookament Resorts. And that is the company which hired people. That is the company which owes taxes. That is the company which owes Vinlec. And that is the company who owes suppliers. Had it been otherwise, when you have the liquidation, the government would have made this claim first, because government taxes under the bankruptcy law has priority. And then you're coming down, you get to the workers and their wages and severance.
Opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday said that they welcome Sandals to SVG and again asked for government to be more transparent about the details of the agreement it signed with the international hotel brand.
So we have genuine concern. So when you say we come into Parliament towards the end of this government to borrow $36 million to do a purchase of a property on behalf of somebody else whom we are hoping now to transfer that property to. Given the history of this project, you are asking us, Mr. Speaker, to put a lot of faith and trust in the government. It is therefore incumbent upon the government to be completely transparent with us as representatives of the people of this country who have seen the repeated failures of the promises that have been made with respect to this resort and others.
Opposition MPs Daniel Cummins and Major Sinclair Leacock, during the debate on the supplementary budget, said that it is taxpayers' money and accountability is very much important. They question whether it will be a failed promise to Vincentians. However, they say they remain optimistic.
I don't care what happened, what will happen. I'm saying what's happening here and now. You're asking me for $40 million without telling me what they are investing. And that's disgusting. Very disgusting. No, it's not a laughing matter. because we are on board with you and lending you support. But it's like if you're playing a three-card trick, like the guys in Middle Street. We're past that. We are partners in national development, and this is basic information that should be provided. It's absolute.
The traffic congestion just moving through Kingstown is something of a nightmare. I've said it before. I will repeat. Any government that is serious about developing tourism on the leeward side of the islands must endeavor to create a proper road that would prevent traffic moving windward, leeward, leeward, windward, having to drive through Kingstown City.
Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sir Louis Straker, said he is looking forward to the commencement of work at the resort by Sandals International, which will be of benefit to SVG.
The development would be an economic boon to the area. And this development is in a beautiful setting. You have the verdant hills of the Bukoma Valley. You have the white sand, and you have the turquoise water. You have the clear blue skies. And this puts it in a position where you can really luxuriate and enjoy the scenes of nature. The river flows from Vermont Valley right down into Penistone, into Pembroke, into Cane Grove, and you have everything your heart's desire. It's a therapy just to be there and to watch the sea, watch the river, and watch the mountains. It will transform the Bukoma area and make it not only a little village famous for tree, baked plums, and tamarind, but it would create jobs for the people down there.
In other news, some $185,000 has been contributed to 18 non-governmental organizations and civil society groups across SVG to help them with their work in community development. This was noted by Minister of National Mobilization, Social Development, Family, Gender Affairs, Persons with Disabilities and the Youth, Frederick Stevenson, who in Parliament on Thursday listed the non-governmental organizations that are receiving assistance under his ministry, while responding to a question from opposition Senator Israel Bruce on the number of active non-governmental organizations in the country. What is being done to rekindle the spirit of volunteerism?
The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines provides on average a total annual contribution of some $185,000 to 18 non-governmental organizations and civil society organizations such as the Society for the Blind, the National Society for Persons with Disabilities, the Marian House, Our Lady of Guadalupe Home for Girls, the Boy Scouts Association, the Girl Guides Association, and the National Council of Women. In the North Leeward constituency,
Minister Stevenson said there are 24 active community groups across SVG, and since 2018, his ministry has been engaging these groups.
A total of approximately 24 community groups. In North Central Windward, 15, and North Windward, about 10. These groups are focused in the areas of religion, women's development, sports and culture, service clubs, health, women, youth, disaster, environmental, and farmers organizations, just to name a few. Some examples of this group include the Black Point Development Organization, the Langley Park Women in Agriculture Group, the Sandy Bay Disaster Group, the Rose Hall Cultural and Development organization, Southeast Development Incorporated, the Simon Farmers Group, and last but not least, Mr. Speaker, the Peruvian Vale, Yambu, and Calder Neighborhood Watch Groups.
The government minister noted that there is a shift trending away from community involvement due to the emergence of social media and other online activities. However, he said his ministry continues to work along with communities to strengthen community groups and non-governmental organizations to reduce poverty nationally.
From this undertaking, Mr. Speaker, it is envisioned that the ministry shall be in a better position to develop strategic capacity building initiatives to meet the group's needs, where they would be better able to identify potential projects, develop proposals, and seek funding from the state and other donor agencies. This work continued through 2019 and was a major indicator for 2020 prior to COVID-19. In addition, Mr. Speaker, the Community Development Division, as one of their strategic priorities, intends on reactivating at least 10 dormant groups across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, along with national CBO and NGO assessment. In several of the communities, we're hoping to start the outreach when we do some very serious retrofitting on a lot of the community centers that are in need of repairs.
While the ban on plastic bags is a good idea, much more must be done to alleviate the problems facing the environment caused by the improper disposal of garbage. So says head of the Richmond Vale Academy, Steiner Herberg, as she spoke with our news team on the recent ban on plastic shopping bags, which took effect from the 1st of this month. Herberg said while the ban is a good move, more sustainable forms are needed to reduce plastic use.
Very good move, but it's not enough. So obviously, one thing is to have bans from different government entities, but everybody here needs to get involved in reduce using the amount of plastic. Now, my take on how a big amount of trash can be reduced is to simply make a backyard garden. Because if you go to the supermarket, sometimes you buy a watermelon and it's packed in plastics. Now, if you grow a few of them in your backyard, or maybe you grow some pineapple, your neighbor grow some watermelon, you make a swap. So the more we grow locally in our own backyards, the more plastic pollution we can reduce.
Herberg said while more bans are needed to protect the environment, work must continue to encourage recycling.
Well, it's quite expensive to get plant-based plastics. These biodegrade in the environment in a short time, and it doesn't mess up the environment. So we need to look into to see when are those alternatives getting cheap enough for us to, use our budgets to get our basic food, right? So I think that we need to look into. Now, the other thing I think we can have more bans, because if you go to the supermarket, the big plastic bag is now banned, or you pay some money for it, which is also a good initiative. But there's a lot of the very, very small plastic bags. You put your soap in one plastic bag, you put your meat in one plastic bag, you put your shampoo in one plastic bag, your toothpaste in another plastic bag, you put this and that in another plastic bag. This is not necessary. So there's more of that we can do. But really, the more food we grow locally, all imported food comes in plastics.
Farmers across SVG impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and drought conditions in the last few months have been registering at different locations for the government's Farmers COVID-19 Drought 2020 Recovery Support Program. Registration for the support program will end next Friday, August 21st, 2020. Farmers are asked to register in person with a national and farmers ID card. Speaking with the communications unit of the Ministry of of Agriculture at one of the registration centers. Interviewer for the Farmers COVID-19 Drought 2020 Recovery Support Program, Natalie Batiste, said that the registration process has been going smoothly over the past week. She said farmers who suffered losses due to the pandemic and drought conditions will receive $500.
The farmers are required to walk with their farmer's ID, their telephone number or email, tell us the damage that will happen to their crops or animal, tell us the percentage of the damage that was made. Farmers will receive a payment of $500 under the COVID-19 relief exercise. Registration was good so far. On day one, a lot of farmers came out to make sure they're signed up for the COVID relief.
Some of the farmers at the registration center explain how they have been impacted by the pandemic and the drought conditions.
We just plant banana, save, planting, tanya, and seasoning and peas and them thing and nuts. Well, in this drought season about for 3 months ago, my save field go down, my peas field and my groundnuts and my planting field drop on the ground because of the hot sun.
All planted, tanyas, dasheen, Edos, but most of all, specialize in the cabbage. Me are the cabbage man. Everybody know that. Me are the cabbage man. But in the past day, me get licked up by 5,000 cabbage seed. That's a pack of Green Challenger, having 5,000 seed. Right? And it's really...
Mainly I plant plantains. I was badly affected by planting. At least 85% of my planting field was destroyed during the drought. Well, my planting field, I used to have irrigation, right? And it used to stick up. That was in banana time, but it was affected mainly because I don't have no irrigation on my farm.
The Ministry of Agriculture Extension Officer working in District 9, the Grenadines, Alan Williams, has announced that 2 staff members of the ministry will be in Bequia and Union Island next week from Tuesday to Thursday to collect information for farmers in the Grenadines who are affected by the pandemic and the drought conditions. The registration process in Bequia will take place at the District Council on Tuesday, August 18th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and on Union Island on Wednesday and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Williams said the registration for farmers' ID will also be done on these days and encourage farmers in the area to walk along with their national ID card and also proof of ownership or permission to the use of the land they presently occupy.
In conjunction with the collection of this data, recording of this data, we are also taking the opportunity to do our farmers registration program. We are aware that there are many farmers in the Grenadines that have not yet applied or receive a farmer's ID, and we want to take the opportunity as well to do this service onto our farmers in the Grenadines. So farmers, please, you need to walk with your form of ID and also proof of ownership or permission to use property or land. And of course, a photo will be taken. So let's make sure that you are prepared to take a photo, both male and female as well. All right. So we are aware that many of our farmers who suffered damage and loss in the Grenadines also may not have a farmer's ID. Well, we are extending this service as well, and we will ask you to work with at least 1 or 2 forms of ID, and along with the proof of ownership of the land, and then we will take it from there. So we are asking farmers in the Grenadines to please take advantage of this opportunity, and your cooperation is greatly appreciated for you to provide us with both the information for your farmer's ID and the damage and loss assessment in the Grenadines.
The Traffic Department of the RSVG Police Force said, consequent upon an increase of vehicular traffic in areas of Annisvale and Kingstown, it has taken the decision to make some changes to the flow of traffic to ease the congestion that will be implemented as of Monday, August 17, 2020. Vehicular traffic traversing from Calico across the decommissioned E.T. Joshua Airport en route into Kingstown between the hours of 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. are kindly kindly advised to turn left upon reaching the security gate and then make a right turn after passing the former departure lounge. On reaching in the vicinity of VJ's Prime Line, motorists are asked to turn left while utilizing the cones and travel down to the SVG Technical College onto Cane Garden or Public Road and proceed into Kingstown. Motorists traveling from Kingstown between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. who are desirous of utilizing the said bypass road will do so via Cane Garden Public Road or make a right turn at the Sion Hill intersection, then proceed along the Roseau Public Road onto Annisville towards VJ's Prime Line, turn right through the cones and drive across the tarmac, exiting at the bridge. Vehicles traveling from Kingstown along the Casson Hill Public Road will not be allowed to turn right and travel across the tarmac of the decommissioned E.T. Joshua Airport. Head of the Traffic Department, Superintendent Kenneth John, thanks citizens for their continued support in working along with the RSVG Police Force to keep the roads of SVG safe for motorists, commuters, and pedestrians alike.